Okay, so I think we've covered the chord track and the follow modes enough now. Now let's jump across to another tool that I really find handy in composing, and that's making use of Melodyne. So Melodyne is an application that's included with Studio One. So just make sure that you've installed it. So when you launch Studio One after you've installed it, you need to activate it. You can just copy the serial over here and then it'll launch the website and you can paste the serial in there. And then you've got Melodyne activated on your system so that you can integrate it within Studio One. So most of the times I get some melody ideas while I'm away from the studio. So I'll just record the idea into my phone. And then when I come back to the studio, I want to quickly get that idea down. So what I do is I create an audio track and then hum the parts in. And then I'm going to show you how I take that part, open it up in Melodyne, then extract the pitch note data from it, and then move it across to an instrument. So this is going over this chorus section that I've built up now. Let me just play it through for you. Cool, so that's the part. So I'm just going to record a melody idea over that. Cool, so let's record this in. Just make sure that I've got the track record armed and input monitoring it. And let's record this in. Cool, so excuse the bad vocals there, but you get the idea. So here is the rough idea. Now to get to Melodyne, you can right click on the part, then go to Audio and choose Edit with Melodyne. Or you can use the shortcut Command M or Control M. So if you have a look over here, so it's analyzed the audio part and added what looks like MIDI notes. And what it really is Melodyne analyzing the audio and assigning it to a pitch note value. Now let's just scroll down and here we can see the part. Let's listen through and just do some quick edits to it to get it sounding right. So I'll solo this and let's take a listen through. Da 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 da. Awesome. So before converting this to a MIDI part, let's go and do some editing. So let's select all the notes and pitch correct them. Going to go to the pitch macro and pull the pitch center and pitch drift all the way up to 100%. So that was it before, and you can see it's just moving everything onto a pitch. So it has an exact pitch that it's sitting on. Then also let's correct the timing. Let's go to 16ths and just add this to 100% just to improve the timing. So now if we take a listen. Da, 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 da. You can see there's some slight variances in pitch here, especially when coming into a note. So I'm just going to pull these up. Da, da. It's not going to sound right, but when you move this across to the MIDI, it'll be good. Da, 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 da. So if we listen here. Da, 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 da. Cool? Da, 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 da. Whoops. Da, 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 da. That should be good. Da, 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 da. Cool. So that's the Melodyne editing sorted. Now to convert this to a MIDI track, it's really simple. You just take the audio part and move it across to a track. So what it does is it picks up the pitch data that has been analyzed by Melodyne and converts it to a MIDI part. So hopefully now we've got something that makes a bit more sense. then taking a listen to it with the other instrumentation. Cool. So let's go in, and I think this will sound better up an octave. And then going into the velocity, let's just increase everything. Awesome. So that's how you take your sort of rough audio ideas that you might be coming up with for your songs, pulling them into Melodyne, then editing the Melodyne data so that it's all in time and pitch, and then how you take it and move it across to an instrument track, and it converts it to MIDI for you. So it's really a fast and simple step. It just gives you a different way of working. I know I like to come up with rough ideas when I'm away from the studio. So that way you can come up with the ideas, then come back to the studio, record them in, and convert them to an instrument in your composition. Now in this video, let me go over some tools that you can use to arrange your song. So we've gone over the chord track and the patterns and how you can build up chord progressions, and then how you can use things like Melodyne to sort of extract melody ideas from audio and then turn that into an instrument that plays the melody line. But now let me show you two things. I want to show you the arranger and then the scratch pads. Now, if you've watched my previous courses, you probably already know these tools, but I want to show you how you can use the arranger and the scratch pad to write up different arrangements, and then from there, how you can use the chord track to help you define different ideas within your arrangements and your chords. So let's take a listen through to the song that I've been building up over here. It's got some extra elements and it's still a work in progress, but let's just play it through so you get an idea, and then I'll show you how to go in and add arrangement items for the different sections in the arrangement. So here's the song. There's this intro. Yeah, it kicks into this first verse section. Then it goes into this pre-chorus. You can take a look to the chords I've used here. This is going to be the chorus. Back into a second verse. Okay, that's it. So like I said, it's still a work in progress. I really don't know where I want to go from after here. So let's build up the arrangement and see what we can do. So for the arrangement, if you click on this and then get your pen tool and you draw, it creates an intro. So let's just do that again. If you draw and drag across, you can extend it out. So my intro is going to about over here. And the next section is going to be the verse. Awesome. That's pretty good. Picks up exactly what I want to do. Now next, if I draw in, you can see that it's drawing in a chorus. But this is actually my pre-chorus. Now to rename this, just go to the Arranger Inspector over here. If you're not seeing it, just click on this I button. And let's label this pre-chorus. Maybe with a hyphen in the middle there. Then next, we've got the chorus, and that's making it the bridge. So Studio One presumes you go intro, verse, chorus, bridge, but that's fine. We can also just go in and rename that. And then here, this is going to be verse 2. Now that's saying outro. So let's just rename that to verse 2. And while we're at it, let's go rename this to verse 1. And this is going to be the pre-chorus and then chorus 1. I know I'm going to need another chorus somewhere. So let's just call that chorus 1. Awesome. So now we've got a basic idea on what's happening with the arrangement. But what I find really handy with this arranger tool is if you've built up the sort of building blocks of your song, such as your verses and choruses, if you need to duplicate them, use the arrow tool or selector tool and click on this and drag it while you hold down Alt or Option and drop it in over here. So I'm going to do verse 2 into chorus 2. So I'm going to skip the pre-chorus for this section. And that copies all the parts that were in that item. That's including the chord track and then all the instrumentation. And I can just go in and rename that. So that's going to be chorus 2. Awesome. So that's how to use the arranger tool to draw out your different ideas for your arrangement, how you can build on and duplicate parts very easily by just selecting these things. And I think I might have shown you this before if you did my first course, but what you can also do is drag things around. So that will replace that, or if you drag it here, it moves it there, and you can take these around and drag it there. So you've got quite a bit of flexibility on editing up this arrangement. But I'm just going to leave it like that, chorus 1, verse 2, and chorus 2. Then the next helpful feature that I use within my arrangements and my songs is the scratch pad. So when you click on this, it opens up a second arrangement area. So let's just minimize that so we can see these both clearly. So this is your one arrangement area, and this is your second. And you can even make more if you wanted to. So what I used to do in the past before the scratch pad is if I wanted to make some edits to my arrangement, I'd select all of this, copy it across somewhere, and then make some edits to this one. So if I ever wanted to go back, I could jump back here and copy across or edit or do whatever I wanted to do to get it back to what it was. But that's a bit cumbersome and a bit of wasted space in this arrangement area. And that's really where the scratch pad feature comes into its own. You've got this whole selection here to write a different arrangement, and then you can jump between the two to test them out. And in the next video, I'm going to get into how we're going to be using the features that we've already covered to edit our arrangements and then play between them and hear the differences. So let's select all of this and move it across. I'm going to grab this hat spot area because I know that that starts right in the beginning, and I'm going to drop it there. And you can see the zoom levels are different between the two. So I'm just going to change that. And now I've got my whole part. What you do need to also do is select and copy across your chord track and your arrangement. Now you can see what happened there. That's what I want to show you. So probably the easiest way to do this whole thing is just to select all the items in this arranger track and copy it across. So there you go. So that's why I showed you the arrange item. Create your arrange item so that you can just easily copy the items across to your scratch pad instead of having to do 3 or 4 whole steps to get it there. Okay, so now that you know how the arranger and the scratch pad work, let's dive in and see how we can make some changes to some of the items in our chord track and how these adjust the rest of the tracks. And then I'll show you how you can jump between the different scratch pads to compare the different arrangements. Catch you in the next video. So in the last video, I showed you how you could use the arranger and then the scratch pad to have different arrangement ideas for your song. Now let's go in and make some changes and use some of the new features that we've learned throughout this course. So I'm just going to close the scratch pad for now so that I can just see this arrangement. And first off, I want to point out that the song is in the key of D minor. But then you'll see that on this chorus, I jump to a D major. So doing key changes like this, where you're going from minor to major, can really change up the song. Minor chords normally give a sort of somber and happy feeling, where majors are happy and uplifting. So let's take a listen through from this D minor into the chorus where it changes to D. So this is all minor, still minor, and then it kicks to a major over here, just before the pre-chorus. And here we've got some chords that just take us somewhere slightly different. And here we go into the major. So very uplifting with all these major chords. Now I wanted to try something different when I come out of this chorus. This goes to the D major here, and then it goes back to the D minor of the second verse. Take a listen. Back into the minor. Now check where this chord track and chord selector can come in handy. For this first verse, I just want to stay still uplifting. So I'm actually going to click on this and change it to a major. Now take a listen. Quite different, eh? So go back to a minor, listen to it. I actually really like it with a major. Just gives a short burst of positiveness on the second verse. And just also note that because this is going into a major, my melody will need to change because that's following a minor key. So that's the D, E, F. So this actually needs to go up to an F sharp. And let's take this and move this up to an A. So now we got this. Then back to the D minor. Very cool. So you can see how this chord track is helping determine where I want to go with this song. And one more thing I want to show you. Because there is this key change from a D minor to a D major, I need to do some slight modulation. Where is it? It's right over here at bar 27. So what works quite well is to use the dominant seventh before going into the new key change. So let's check this out. So I've got a G minor seventh here, but let's rather change this to a G major. So let's take a listen quickly. And let's see how this sounds when we change it to the major seventh. So just slight little changes like this can really help your song. I think maybe the minor actually worked better there. If you're just taking a look at this section over here, it's just moving this from down there. So this is the major. And here is the minor seventh. But slight little things like this are going to work very well. And remember in a few videos back how I showed you how you could transpose chords. Let's try some transposition. So this is going from the chorus into that second verse that's starting on a major key now. Now let's take these last three, up 3 semitones, up 3 semitones, and up 3 semitones. And how about when it goes into this last chorus, let's change those also all up 3 semitones. I know it's a lot of chords here, but this would be a lot more work if we're going into the MIDI and changing it. Let's hold thumbs that this all works. And let's keep that G minor to G major 7. Let's see what happens. So this might all end badly. Let's just drag the end of the song over here. But let's take a listen. So going from the chorus into the major sound, then to the transposition over there. I forgot something. I forgot my melody line is actually not following the key. So you can see how it takes a bit of work just getting everything the way you want it to. So let's just take all of that and shift it up 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3. Let's see how that works. And just before I get there, these sections need to go up as well. Sorry, that was just because I hadn't set that to follow anything. You can see the follow mode is off. But now, there's been a lot of changes in a short space of time to this arrangement. So, let's take a listen going from halfway through the chorus all the way through, and then jump back to our previous scratch pad and see the difference. Now, key change. It's going to be interesting when it goes over here, when it jumps back down. Awesome. Really, that's not too bad. So now I could open up my scratch pad and take a listen back to what it was like before. Maybe I actually prefer this version. That does sometimes happen. You can do all this work and realize what you had before was actually what you wanted. So this is going to go to the minor key now. So you see the flexibility you have here. You can build up different arrangement ideas and use the scratch pads to test your different arrangement ideas out. And it's just seamless. All your instruments are already there, but you can go in and make some edits to the chord track and see how they reflect with the rest of the instruments. And if you're not happy with it, just jump back to a previous scratch pad. So I hope that's given you an idea of what you can do. This is just an eye-opener into some of the things that I like to do with the Arranger scratch pad and chord track. But I hope that's given you some ideas on what you can do with your songs as well. So that's it for this course. I hope you enjoyed it and learned all about the composing tools in Studio One and how they can assist you with your workflow. I find that these tools really help improve my composing speed and efficiency. And they also help me find mistakes in my songs. Like maybe, for example, I've got some incorrect notes within a chord, or even a chord within a chord progression. I'm not too sure where I want to go. Then I can use, for example, the chord selector to choose different chords to help me build up my chord progression. So just to sum up, let's go over what we covered in this course. We went over how this global chord track works, then how you can open up the chord selector and choose different chords for your chord progressions. We also went over how you could take a MIDI part and analyze it and find the chords that are within that chord progression. So you've got that flexibility within the chord progression. Also, we learned how to use the follow modes so that your note data always followed how the chords were going. So if you went in and changed a chord, the notes would adjust accordingly because of the follow mode set. We also looked at the drum editor and pattern editor and how they worked and how you can use them to build up patterns with your instruments and with your chords. For example, I showed you how you could take a bass part that's using a pattern and then set that to a follow mode, and then it would quickly adjust to the global chord track and build up a bass part for you. I also showed you how you could take audio events and extract the chords from within it. You could take these and change the chords if you wanted to with their lengths, or even add in new ones. And because these audio events have extracted the chords, they can also be set to follow modes and follow how the chords change within the song. We explored the scratch pad and how you could use this to help build up your very chord progression and arrangement ideas through the arranger track. And then we finished off with how you could use Melodyne to extract audio ideas to MIDI and then assign them to an instrument. So that's it for the course. I hope that you enjoyed it and learned about all the composing tools in Studio One and how they can help assist you in your workflow. I find that these tools really help improve my composing speed and efficiency. So you should have a very good idea now on these composing tools and how they work within Studio One. Now get in there and start using these tools and see how they can improve your compositions. And if you like this course, please leave me a review so that I can make sure to take notes of these and make better courses for you in the future. I look forward to hearing from you, and thanks again so much for enrolling and completing this course. I'm sound designer and composer Gary Hibner here from On Track Tuts, signing out.